If you're standing in the music store, feeling a little overwhelmed by the sea of guitars, you're probably looking for something that just works, no weird quirks, no constant readjustments, and something that feels like a solid investment rather than a flashy gadget. The hesitation most of us feel is real. You spend a decent chunk of cash, you want the instrument to stay in tune, to sound good whether you're jamming at home or playing a small gig, and you definitely don't want to be stuck with a guitar that feels like a maintenance nightmare. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk through why the Taylor Gold Label 714E Super Auditorium might be the sweet spot for many players, and also point out the scenarios where you'd be better off looking elsewhere. First off, the Super Auditorium shape isn't just a marketing term. It's a body design that sits between the classic grand auditorium and a smaller concert model, which translates into a surprisingly balanced soundstage. In real-world terms, that means you can strum a folk-style chord progression in your bedroom and get a warm, rounded low end that fills the room, while still having enough bite to cut through a small acoustic set at a coffee shop. The combination of torrefied spruce on the top and Indian rosewood on the back and sides is what gives it those rich overtones. I've heard a lot of players compare torrefied spruce to vintage-aged tone without having to actually buy a 30-year-old guitar, and that's a genuine advantage when you're looking for a mature voice right out of the box. One practical strength that shows up day to day is the action control neck. Taylor built this system so you can raise or lower the string height with a simple knob at the headstock, no need for a screwdriver or a visit to the shop. If you've ever been on a road trip and noticed a string buzz after a few hours of playing, you'll appreciate being able to dial the action back up in 5 seconds. In my own testing, after a 2-hour gig the neck stayed stable, and a quick tweak gave me the exact feel I wanted for the next set. That kind of adjustability is a real time saver for gigging musicians or teachers who move between different playing styles. The electronics are another area where this guitar tries to earn its price. The built-in LR Bag's VTC pickup system is known for capturing the natural acoustic tone without sounding canned. When I plugged the 714E into a modest PA system at a local open mic night, the feedback was minimal, and the guitar retained the warm low end you'd expect from an unplugged performance. That makes the instrument a viable option for anyone who needs to go electric occasionally, whether it's a small venue, a rehearsal space, or just recording onto a laptop. Now, let's talk about the hardshell case. Taylor includes a sturdy case that's not an afterthought. The interior foam cradles the guitar securely, and the external shell can survive the kind of rough handling you get when loading a car trunk or stashing the instrument in a cramped backstage area. For a touring musician or a teacher who transports several guitars weekly, that protection is worth the extra weight compared to a soft gig bag. On the flip side, there are a few practical weaknesses to keep in mind. The Super Auditorium body, while versatile, isn't the most projecting shape if you're aiming for large venues or need a lot of volume without amplification. In a rehearsal room with a full band, you'll still want a solid amp or PA to keep the guitar audible. Also, the Indian rosewood back and sides, while beautiful, can be a concern for players in very humid climates. Rosewood tends to absorb moisture, which could lead to slight neck movement over time if the instrument isn't properly humidified. That isn't a deal breaker, but it does add a small maintenance step that some beginners might overlook. Who should consider the 714E? If you're a serious intermediate player who wants a guitar that can handle both intimate acoustic sessions and modest amplified gigs, this model hits a lot of marks. It's also a good fit for teachers who need a reliable instrument that can be quickly adjusted for students of varying skill levels. The built-in LR bag system means you can walk into a venue and plug in without needing an external pickup, which streamlines the setup for a solo performer. And because the neck adjustment is tool-free, anyone who isn't comfortable with a luthier's shop can fine-tune the playability on the fly. Who might skip it? If you're a professional who regularly plays large venues and relies on a guitar that can dominate a big stage acoustically, you may find the Super Auditorium's projection a bit modest. Likewise, if you're on a tight budget and are comfortable buying a separate pickup system later, the added cost of the LR bag's electronics could be better allocated to a higher-grade tone wood or a different body shape that matches your specific sound goals. Finally, players who are